years ago is when I started having health issues. And as she mentioned, I had depression, and the type of depression that I had was postpartum. And 32 years ago, I really didn't even know what that was. Now we hear more about it. But that was my first exposure to herbs and natural things. And if I had not been in a crisis, I probably would have never tried them. I hate to see that people have to be at the bottom before they look at natural things, but sometimes they do. Preventative would be a whole lot better way to go. So I hope some of y'all preventatively look at taking better care of yourself. And it would be wonderful to say that you just need to eat right, and of course you do need to eat right, but just doing that all by itself doesn't always work. And why is the food is only as good as the soil of which it was grown in. So consequently, a lot of people are not getting nutritionally what they need. I personally eat organic fruits and vegetables. I am not a vegetarian. I do eat meat, but I eat meat that is very clean. So I only do hormone and antibiotic free. I don't eat any pork personally, and so I just eat a little different than the average folks do, but whatever convictions you have is up to you, but I do think that supplementation is sometimes necessary. Let's use the example of you're allergic to fish. If you are, then of course you're not eating fish, but oil that comes from the fish is a necessary element in your body. You've probably heard the term essential fatty acids, and that is very necessary, especially if you are athletic, because oil is going to lubricate your joints as well as it does the veins and arteries. And then if you eat fish 2 to 3 times a week, you may get enough of that dietarily speaking, but it does depend on what type of fish you eat, like sardines, salmon, tuna, cod, and mackerel. Those kind are going to have a higher amount of essential fats in them. Tilapia and catfish, no, because they are farm raised. Now, it doesn't mean you don't eat them, but don't be thinking you're getting omega-3 when you are, because you're not. A handful of raw nuts is another good way to get essential fats, and avocados. There are a lot of high-end good fat foods that won't make you fat, because that's a good fat. But sometimes people are just not eating those things. So supplementation with either flaxseed oil or omega-3 or lecithin, or, you know, we have a product called Super GLA that has evening primrose, blackcurrant, and borage oil all in there. Sometimes that's very beneficial. So we've got a lot of different good essential fat choices. But tonight what I thought that I would talk about, because Pamela told me a lot of y'all are, of course, doing the fitness aspect, and I wanted to go down that path, and then if any of y'all are trying to maintain proper weight, I thought we would go down that path as well. So first off, if you are exercising, now this is nowhere near what y'all used to do, but I'm going to use my personal testimony. I used to bowl on a league, and basically when I would bowl during the week and during school year, I was used to it, my muscles were used to it, I never was sore. But we took a break in the summer, and when we would come back for the new school year and start bowling again, my arm would be sore that first couple of times getting back used to it. If y'all have any soreness after work out, or if it's a new thing you're trying to take up and you're taking it up a notch, you might want to look at a product that is called safflowers. Now, this is not safflower oil, but it's safflowers, the herb, and safflowers is historically used to move, keep circulating the uric and lactic acid in the system. And so that can play a role with soreness if you're exerting yourself differently than maybe you're used to, or if it's you're taking a break for a week and then coming back and experiencing that. That's one thing I thought you might want to know about. Another thing is inflammation, and some people literally do have pain and inflammation, and if you do, there are several products that might help you out. One of them you've probably heard a lot about, which is curcumin. Curcumin is in the turmeric family aspect. This one says BP on it because that's black pepper extract that actually causes the curcumin to be much more potent. And this is a product that you can just when you need it, you can take it every day. That's kind of up to you. A lot of people only have inflammation sometimes. I do want to let you know, dietarily speaking, there are some foods that can cause inflammation. The worst, of course, is sugar, but a little bit worse than that can actually be an artificial sweetener called Splenda. Just know that that can create a lot of inflammation in your body. Other things that can cause inflammation in some people are crackers, bread, and pasta. Now, I know I just stepped on a few toes, but basically many people are sensitive to the gluten. Now, not everyone is, and I'm not saying everybody has to do gluten-free, but if you have a lot of inflammation in your body, you may want to alleviate the crackers, bread, and pasta for a month and then add it back and see if it matters, and many people it does. If you want something topical to put on sore muscles, there is a lotion. It is called Teifu, T-E-I-F-U, Teifu Massage Lotion. We have a sample bottle sitting on our desk all the day, and people use it constantly. It only takes a little drop, and it spreads a long way, and people use that, and we just sell it immediately. As soon as people try it, they can tell a really big difference. So it's something that you may want to experience and share with other people. But if you get some and you share it, you probably will have to buy another one, because more than likely they're not going to leave without it, and that's what we find in our office. Another thing is we have little packets like this, and they're called Soul Stick packs, and we have a lot of different ones. This one right here is specifically called Stixated, and Stixated is something that you can use if you want to, if you're trying to watch your weight, because it helps you to eat better, because it makes you feel full. And why it makes you feel full is because it has fiber in it, but it also has some other ingredients that balance your blood sugar, and it tastes really good. Now, before I got into herbs, I grew up eating or drinking Kool-Aid, and of course that's not at all healthy. And this is something that has a nice strawberry taste to it. So if you put it in water, you feel like you're drinking Kool-Aid, even though it has no artificial colors or sugars. And it does help you to not crave sweets. It helps you to feel full. So if you are trying to eat right and have a proper weight balance, that's something to look at. And I also wanted to speak to people who know that they have cartilage, tendons, and ligament issues, because if you do, you might have heard of glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, hyaluronic acid, things like that that can make a difference. And we've got all of that in one product that is called Everflex. And Everflex can be taken daily, but usually when you take something like this, the way that herbs and vitamins and minerals are designed is you're not going to take them for the rest of your life. You feed your body the food it needs, and it has the God-given ability to rebuild itself. So typically, if you take a product for about 3 months, you'll be shocked and surprised that it heals very quickly, and then you don't need it anymore, especially if you don't do anything to tear it back down. Now, depending on your age, I use the glucosamine chondroitin, the Everflex direction, in, let's see, I don't want to make anybody say you're old or you're not old, but basically over 60. Then the chondroitin, MSM, glucosamine's more the way that people typically test out. But if you're younger than that, especially in your 30s and 40s, you might look at a product called Colatrim. Now, Colatrim, still just like the Everflex, it works on rebuilding cartilage, tendons, and ligaments historically, but this one is collagen. It's actually bovine collagen, and it does the same thing, just using a different ingredient. And so the younger crew usually responds better to this. It's also known as the facelift in the bottle, because it does help the skin a lot too with its elasticity. And speaking of the skin, a lot of people have issues with cellulite. You can be thin or overweight and have cellulite. So, ladies, we're blessed. Men don't get cellulite. So if you would like to address that naturally, I wanted to let you know that there were some things you can do topically as well as internally, and you do want to address it both ways. There is a product called CelluSmooth, and this is what you would take internally. It's got a combination of herbs that help to emulsify fat. And of course, would that affect your cholesterol in a positive way too? Yes. But CelluSmooth is working more specifically on the cellulite in the skin. But what I really like, and I use this myself topically, it's called Herbal Trim Skin Treatment. And what this is an aloe vera gel base with some essential oils in it, and it works beautifully to topically apply, and then especially right before you work out, because most of y'all know what a body wrap is. This solution's very similar, so if then you heat up the body or perspire, you're going to actually help with inches and that type of thing, as well as helping with the cellulite. And then there is an essential oil that you can add to this called Cellutone that even takes it up a notch as well. So you have all kinds of ways of addressing these issues that you have challenges with. There is a product, another one, called Fat Grabbers. Now understand, I need y'all to hear me on this. All of these products I'm talking about, you don't need all of them, but there are a few things that are going to sound exactly like something you'd be interested in. This one, Fat Grabbers, if you have weight issues and you need more bulk and fiber in your diet, and you have elevated cholesterol levels, you might look at this one because it can assist you with all three. And it's called Fat Grabbers. At this point, I do want to say, if you're on pharmaceutical medications of any kind, you want to know that you're not going to swallow any of these supplements at the same exact time you swallow your medications. You always want to take medications and supplements at least 1 hour away from each other. That's very important because the pharmaceuticals are strong enough to cancel out the herb's ability to work properly, and there can be some contraindications there. So please just keep that in mind. If you are taking supplements, typically they've been dried. When you dry an herb, it has 4 times more food value than if it was fresh. But if you don't have enough water in you to hydrate it, you're not going to get best utilization out of it. So take your body weight and half it, and that's how many ounces it takes to hydrate you as an individual. Now, if you're exercising and perspiring a lot, of course you need even more than that, but that is the bare minimum. If you drink coffee, tea, soda, or alcohol, those things will also dehydrate you by that same amount. So if you drink 8 ounces of water and 8 ounces of coffee, now you're back down to 0 on your hydration. So just keep that in mind. You have to add even more if you're doing very much of those dehydrating things. Now, let's talk about a few other products that are weight loss derived. This one is Garcinia. I don't know if y'all ever watch any of the shows like Dr. Oz or anything like that, but he talks about Garcinia cambogia quite often, and it is something that does help in the weight loss direction, but it doesn't make you feel jittery or anything like that because it doesn't have any stimulants in it, but it does help your body to break down and digest carbohydrates better. And of course you need the complex carbohydrates to turn into energy. You're just needing to avoid the simple carbohydrates. Another product that you might look into, now normally you don't see the long word spelled out of this. We call it CLA. The long word is conjugated linolenic acid. Now, if you read about this, it'll talk about it helps to build lean muscle mass and reduce fat. Yep, but you got to be working out to do that, of course. Can't lay in bed all day and build lean muscle mass. But if you are working out, this could really be your friend, and consider it as a possibility. If you're needing to speed up your metabolism, now some people like caffeine and some people avoid it like the plague. I don't do any caffeine. These two products that I'm fixing to talk about come with caffeine and without caffeine. They do work on the direction of thermogenesis, which means you elevate the blood temperature or the body temperature by a degree, which helps the body to burn fat. One of them is called Metabamax, and the other one is Ultratherm. They have different ingredients, and of course you can read about all these ingredients on Pamela. She has a website that can help you with that, but they work in a similar way, both working on speeding up your metabolism. Now, I don't think everybody needs to do that per se, because dietarily speaking, you could speed up your metabolism just by eating 3 times a day. Now, or 6 times a day, or every 3 hours. You could eat more often. Sorry, I'm having to reach over here for some of these. So if it's possible to eat within an hour after rising, which is very much what I recommend, and then eating about every 3 hours after that. And you don't have to eat a big plate of food, just eating a small portion, but enough calories for your body to say, okay, you're going to feed me on a regular basis so I can turn all this into energy and I can depend on it because you're on a schedule of this. Your body pays attention to your schedule. If you're very erratic on when you eat. Sometimes you eat at 9, sometimes you eat at 11, sometimes you skip breakfast, sometimes you don't eat at all. Your body's going to say, wow, I don't know when I'm going to get fed next, and it will store calories just because it doesn't have a clue what you're going to do, and it doesn't want you to kill it, basically. There's another product called Sweet FX. Now, if you have a sweet tooth, if you have an emotional connection to sugar, and that is quite a few people, this is something you want to look into because it will help with the metabolism of sugar. It helps you not to crave sweet things, but it also helps to maintain proper blood sugar levels. So it's definitely a product to look at if you say, oh, yes, I crave sweets. Now, that's not everybody. Some people say, no, I crave salty things. Everyone's different. This one right here is for those individuals who do have a lot of stress in their life. It's called Nature's Cortisol. And cortisol is a hormone that comes from your adrenal glands. And if you have a lot of stress in your life, your adrenal glands may secrete more cortisol. And if they do, it's in protection, but at the same time frame, it can cause you to gain weight, especially in between your shoulders and your rear, right in that midsection. So basically, it's something to consider if you just can't get rid of that inner tube around your waist or something like that, and it can be caused from stress. And stress could be if you're not sleeping properly too. Keep that in mind. Everyone needs a certain amount of sleep, and we need to go to bed at the right time, which is today, not tomorrow. I always say to people they need to be in bed no later than 11 o'clock, so you're going to bed today and you'll uptake melatonin and serotonin naturally if you do. If you go to bed after that time frame, and even if you say, well, I get 8 hours sleep, but it's after midnight, melatonin and serotonin will not uptake properly in your body, and you'll still have issues with stress. And if your body is very stressed, it will pad itself. And that is the main reason that a lot of people do all these diets and exercise and they don't lose weight. This is something that if you have issues with energy, you may or may not look at. It does have a little bit of naturally occurring caffeine, so it's not something I recommend to everyone. But if you have been a energy drink individual, you've done a lot of caffeine. I work with people every day that drink 6 or 8 sodas a day, and you're trying to get better than that. This is something I would recommend. It comes in a little packet. You put it in your water because you're going to drink more water instead of all those sodas. It'll look like a little packet like this. It has no artificial colors and sugars. And the Solstick Energy is the name of it. And that is something to consider because it would be better than the sodas, better than the energy drinks, but it would still give you some energy naturally. So that's one to consider. And I was looking for my other Solstick, which I'm not finding right now, but we have another Solstick pack. Like I say, they all come in packs like this. This one's the stick-sated. But we have one called Solstick Revive. Now, why y'all might be interested in that is if you're sweating a lot, exerting a lot of energy, exercising, then the Solstick Revive replaces all your electrolytes, and it is beneficial with glucosamine and some B-complex. It has all that in it, and no artificial colors or sugars. You just put it in your water. That would be a much better choice than like Powerade or Gatorade or something like that. And when you are perspiring a lot, that can be very helpful. I was trying to see if I had any other thoughts here. I'm sure a lot of y'all have questions, and I'm going to answer those now. If Pamela wants to come back here, I'm trying to read this screen and talk at the same time.
Back right now. Here I am. Me and Rhonda. You guys, I've been, when Rhonda's talking about the products, she's talking about products from Nature's Sunshine. And
yes.
Rhonda, you might want to speak a little bit about Nature's Sunshine because, you know, you and I buy supplements from Nature's Sunshines, but they may not know about it. And I'm sold on them and have been buying products from them for years. Since I met Rhonda, because they're just high quality products. And I do take the Everflex, and another product that you might want to mention, Rhonda, I take is the I think it's called the Ultra Greens, and it's a nice you know, we're getting you guys to juice and so forth, but another quick fix to replace juicing would be like your Ultra Greens. And so, but these, I mean, I've learned a lot, Rhonda. Oh yeah, I just bought that the other day. This is something new. Go ahead and show them.
Yeah, this is one called Nature's Harvest. Now, the Ultimate Green Zone that you're talking about is a great product, and I like this. But this one right here, people very much might be interested in, and why is some people do like meal replacements. Some people do get in a real big hurry. They're trying to get out of the house in the morning. They know they need to eat something, and it needs to be healthy. And so if you can mix this just in water, and it actually tastes good, or if you want to put it in almond milk or juice or a smoothie or whatever it be, you can do that too. But it's called Nature's Harvest, and when you flip it over and read about it, it has 49 different fruits and vegetables in it. That's huge. I mean, if you went to the grocery store and bought 49 different fruits and vegetables, it would cost you a fortune. So this is in a dried powder, and I always say to people, it is green, and it does not taste like you're licking a lawnmower. It really does have a pleasant taste to it. I served it to 30 people one night in class just in water, and it does taste better if the water's cold, I will say that. But basically, I served it to everybody, and I asked them to be very honest with me if they liked it or not. And every single person said they loved it. It was great. So
that is great.
You know, it's a good tasting green drink. But Nature's Sunshine is a company that I got involved with 32 years ago, and this is how I say it. There's a lot of companies out there, there's a lot of products out there, but I have a reputation of helping people with their health, and I can only help them with superior products. And if the products are clean, they're high quality, they'll do what they're supposed to do. Because you'll read about something and it'll say like kelp. Let's use that for example. Most people know kelp is seaweed. It's naturally rich in iodine and it feeds the body. It's minerally rich. But a food is only as good as the soil of which it was grown in, which I said before, and kelp can be harvested either incorrectly or from fields that are not as clean in the water, as it should be. It can be more toxic water areas. And so it's got to come from a clean source. And Nature Sunshine is very particular about the integrity of the products. They save lots from all of the products that are manufactured so that if anybody did have a complaint, they could go back and get actual products and test it and all that. So they have a lot of integrity with the products, been around a long time. And there are many times over the years that we could not get a product, like let's say Echinacea in the wintertime, and why we couldn't get it is because they couldn't find a good source. And so if it's not up to par, they will not sell it. So it's not like we do without a lot, but I'm thankful that they're that picky so that we get the highest quality products. They've been around 42 years, been around a long time, and it is a product that I felt comfortable giving my child who was under 6 months old. When I first started working with my son Dusty with the cystic fibrosis, I would have never given an infant anything that I wasn't sure it was a high quality product. So I have a very big comfort level with it. And I work with people with ALS and Parkinson's and real hefty duty stuff. I mean, most of the folks listening here probably are in pretty good health, but when you're working with major cancer and stuff, you've got to have superior products for them to work.
Absolutely. And Rhonda, you've been doing this for so many years and your practice is so full. And Rhonda hardly had time for me today, ladies, to do a test on our webinar because she had so many appointments scheduled, and she's just so brilliant and has so much information, and we've just all benefited so much. But I'm very comfortable with Nature Sunshine products, and you can order them online, and I think the prices are really good and get them delivered right to your door. So let's open it up for some questions, and guys, go ahead and throw your questions out, and we're going to get some information to you about all the products that Rhonda recommended tonight. And go ahead and let's take a few minutes and get some questions out to Rhonda. Chris, if you can throw out that herb that you were talking about again, let's see if Rhonda can give you some feedback about that. We'll just give you a few minutes to write your questions.
I'm seeing all the thank yous, and I appreciate y'all having me very much.
Well, you have just done an excellent job, Rhonda. You are just so smart. So Christine is talking about Arnica montana.
Right. Arnica is in a lot of homeopathic remedies, and it can be in a cream or it can be a tablet you put underneath your tongue. It can be administered in a lot of different ways. Typically, the way I have used it is more topically, but it's more for pain and inflammation or an injury is how it can be used. Nature Sunshine's had the Healing AC Cream. It's not just straight Arnica, but it's a blend.
And it helps with what, Rhonda?
Pain,
because she just had eye
and
surgery.
inflammation, and an injury.
Okay, so Jill wants to know, do you have to space the supplements out an hour from each other?
Not from each other, from medicine. You're taking a pharmaceutical medicine away from an herb or vitamin and mineral. Now, the supplements themselves can be taken together. It's just away from pharmaceuticals. Now, if you're not taking any kind of medication, fine.
Okay. What about bruising? What would you recommend for bruising, Rhonda?
Well, you do want to make sure if you're bruising that you don't have a problem. In other words, your blood's not too thin or you're low in iron or something like that. That can cause bruising. But otherwise, I would just actually use vitamin C, because vitamin C actually strengthens the integrity of the veins and arteries so that they do not break easily.
Wow, that is great information. You can get vitamin C, good quality vitamin C, for like $10 a bottle, so that is absolutely great information. Tia wants to know, let's see, well, I don't know how to answer that question, Tia. What about natural estrogen, Rhonda?
Herbs themselves are not estrogen or progesterone, anything like that. Herbs are not. But if you take certain herbs for your hormonal system, then your body can secrete the estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, those naturally occurring hormones. So you're basically feeding your endocrine system. Now, there's many different choices. There's black cohosh, there's Dong Quai, there's DHEA, there's lots of different things. Damiana is another one that a lot of people don't talk about, but that can help in the sex drive direction and with people who have low energy, and usually it has to do with testosterone being too low, and that can be in men and women both. So there are a lot of different things. Not everyone needs the same. I usually recommend people read up on them and see what makes sense to them.
And Nancy asked a question. I think I know the answer to that one, Rhonda. See what you say, but she's asking for anxiety, and I'm thinking GABA.
That is a good choice. GABA Plus is an excellent product, especially if you've got a lot of, when you're trying to go to sleep at night, you can't really shut your brain off and you got that chatter going on. That's one thing good. But also, when you have anxiety, you want to look at the adrenals. The adrenal glands have to do with adrenaline, and so if you have, the heart palpitating and panic and stuff like that, you really want to calm those adrenals down. So we might look at pantothenic acid, B-complex. Pantothenic acid is B5, but, B-complex, things like that. Know that all the B vitamins and the vitamin C are all water soluble, so because that you get rid of it every 4 hours, you would want to take those products 3 times a day.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there any other questions? So, Rhonda, you have just given us so much information, and we are just, I've learned a lot. How about you, ladies? This has been excellent, Rhonda. We thank you so much. And
you can go
it. You can go, ladies, you can go on the Fab50 website /shop, and there's a link to the Nature Sunshine. They have about 600 products, and I think there's some sort of survey or something in there where they can kind of plug in some of their symptoms, and it'll recommend some products. But Rhonda, do you do phone consults for people?
I do. If they'll call me, I'll be glad to work with them. Sure. My office number is 205-733-7000, and I'll be glad to talk with them that way. The other thing is, I don't know how many people have smartphones, but if you do, there's an app that is free called iHeart Radio, and if they download that app for free, then they can listen to radio stations all over the United States. And so basically, I'm in Birmingham on WERC 105.5 radio station every Saturday Central Time from 3 to 4. So I'd love for them to listen in to my show if they would like to, and that's another way to learn.
Wow. That sounds awesome, and we're going to give you guys that information so we can all get on board to listening to Rhonda's radio station. And Rhonda, we just thank you so much. This was just such a great way to conclude the end of our clinical study. We've had webinars every week, and on different topics, and you have just done an outstanding job, and we thank you so much. We'll get all that information to you, and the phone number and the radio station, and we'll do a list of all the products that Rhonda recommended. And we would just want to thank you guys for being a part. And Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to sign off tonight, ladies, and we'll see you guys at our run this Saturday. Don't forget our tailgate. Don't forget to bring a healthy dish to share, and don't forget that if you bring donuts or cupcakes, you will get put in the bullpen. So we'll see you guys this Saturday for tailgate, and then August 17th for our post-clinical assessment. All right, so good night, everybody, and thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
All right, good night.
Good night.